Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of your favorite current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. My name is Ego Sagmalao. Today's program, we'll be taking a look at how we can deepen democracy in Nigeria, with special emphasis on INEC, the umpire in charge of conducting elections in this country. So, deepening democracy, INEC in focus. And I have very distinguished personalities with me on the program today. I have with me a clergyman, Dr. Evangelist Emeka Ekuga. Nice to have you on the program.
God bless you. Thank you, viewers.
I also have with me a clergyman and also a legal practitioner in Edo State, Barrister Pastor Jimmy Osagede. Nice to have you with us today.
Thank you so much.
I also have with me a legal practitioner and, of course, a chartered arbitrator and human rights activist, Barrister Patrick Isekwene. Nice to have you with us today.
Good afternoon.
I also have with us a very renowned analyst, communicator, communication expert. He's also the president, Unity in Democracy, a group that advocates for good governance, and of course, a political analyst. Talking about Matthew Andrew Ehigalua. Nice to have you on the program.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Okay, so that's the set, and we'll be taking a look at deepening democracy in Nigeria. A lot has happened. Or just yesterday, the announcement of the results of the Rivers governorship election actually put paid to the issue of the 2019 governorship election. Now, Rivers election, just like other elections, other governorship supplementary elections, commenced on the 9th of 2019. But on March the 10th, INEC suspended collation of results, citing issues of violence, alleged interference of security agents, and some other anomalies. Now, there was pressure on INEC, and eventually INEC announced April 2nd and April 5th to resume electoral activities in Rivers, and that actually created some kind of suspense amongst voters. But yesterday, the collation, when the collation resumed, it was concluded yesterday, and the incumbent governor, Nyesom Wike, was declared. So, Nyesom Wike has been declared by INEC as the winner of the Rivers governorship election. He polled 886,264 votes to beat his closest rival, Mr. Wara of the AAC, who, of course, we understand, got the backing of a former governor of Rivers State, talking about the Minister of Transport now, Amici. Well, let's just listen to that pronouncement again before we commence our discussion.
That I this day confirm again that I'm the returning officer for this election, and that Nyesom Wike is of the PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected.
Happened yesterday during the collation, and of course there was jubilation. The voters, the supporters of Nyesom Wike were ecstatic when the results eventually came. So let's just get started. We'll commence our discussion with Barrister Osagede. We'll start with you. Now, you saw the activities, the electoral activities in Rivers. What's your take?
Well, it's unfortunate that what happened in Rivers happened. It was not supposed to be so. You know, we know the scenario in Rivers. You know, before the elections, the APC was not having candidate because the court have declared that their primaries were, illegal because they did not follow the channels.
Okay.
And it's also public knowledge that after that, the PDP, the APC in Rivers State team up with AAC candidate, as a force against PDP. We have two major blocks in Rivers State. We have the Rotimi Amichi's block, and you have the Wike's block. That was why the collation of the result was suspended. It's already common knowledge in Nigeria that there were some elections in some states, some key states, so to say, where the incumbent, incumbent at the national level, wanted to make sure that they got those states. And I want to thank God for the life of Wike and the people of Rivers. The people of Rivers, they really came out en masse, including the women. What the women did. Some of them went topless to ensure that their vote was counted. So that's why the coalition was suspended. Rivers was almost like a war zone with top military officers, police, NCDC, all of them, they were there trying to make sure, it's obvious that they were trying to make sure that Wike did not come back, but Wike stood his ground. And, by today when the results were finally, released, early hours of today, we knew that the people had spoken. I think, other states and other, electorates in other parts of the country should take a cue from Rivers. When you are intimidated to that extent, you should stand your ground, because, when the people are speaking in one voice, they can prevail.
Okay, thank you. Barrister Patrick Isekwene, what's your take on what transpired in Rivers and the eventual announcement of the results of the election and declaration of Wike as the winner?
For me, I felt very bad, very bad for the INEC to have delayed the election up to this extent, because it's a common knowledge. Even the way the election went, even the result that were released, 17 local government, we get cleared it, which shows that it's a good beginning. I like it to have it. But I have never seen anywhere where election is being favorable. I mean, what I say for this election, even to be those in power, in the incumbents, in national, they don't dare say suspend the election. They release immediately. But this one is a very unique one, very, very unique. It was more or less a war. This one that's even worse than civil war. I can see the army patrolling with the common flag, the way they did in civil war. We're able to see civil war played itself. I was watching the result with this suspect. I said, for what now? I was embarrassed. Before you know it, I said, no, this is their fashion. They started to use the issue of violence. Under section 16, when there's when there's likelihood of violence, you have the power to postpone an election.
That's INEC.
That's what they did. But it's uncalled for. After the result they released yesterday to us, was there any rerun? No. It is what they had that very day. Was there the whole of two months for a ride? All the delays, some people lost their lives. You're still holding the result that you already made the winner. So we pray such a thing never happen again in our country. But it's a very bad situation. Because some people have been alive today, because this election is just released now, they already have it that very day. As you know too well, I say, it's not your duty. Don't be a busybody. Your is to declare the highest who is leading. Declare the winner. All that is, the supply is there to carry on their own work. It's not your duty. If they have declared the result where it is, they don't have any problem. At the end of the day, it is the same result. We won the election. Please, I pray that in the history of our political history, that's where I'm very, very emotional about the topic. How can deepen our democracy? Yes. We are going to look at it. Okay. So this thing won't happen again. That's why we are here. You don't take Nigeria with levity. Yes. You don't take Nigeria as if they are fools. You don't take Nigeria for granted. You don't take all the whole of of emotional trauma they made them pass through. The candidates, their families, the voters, they want to make sure their vote counts. It's not, you cannot compare in terms of money and other things. So that's my take.
Okay, thank you, Barrister Patrick. Well, we also have with us the President Unity in Democracy. It's a pressure group that wants to advance democracy. And we're talking about Andrew Eyaloa. Now, this is where you come in. Now, looking at what has happened in Rivers, what's your take?
Well, I've said it time without number
Yes.
that Nigeria as a country, we only borrowed the word democracy,
Okay.
but we are doing a different thing. Just to let the world appreciate us that Nigeria is practicing democracy. What is happening here is not democracy. It's a war zone. You know, imagine an election whereby the whole town is in disarray. Everywhere there is confusion, shooting of guns and all that. What makes you think a rightful thinking family will allow the children, the family to go and cast their votes on that day? The tension in Nigeria is getting too much. And I want to use this opportunity to appeal to the federal government. Elections like this, even if you are the party in power or not, try to play an arbitrary role. Where there is tension, where there is any problem, go and treat it without sentiment.
Okay.
Without sentiment. And again, to deepen our democracy, I've observed that the INEC, that is an umpire body, that is there to speak the truth when the situation warrants, to me, they are not doing the right thing. How can an electoral officer in charge of coalition and releasing results, all of a sudden a call comes in and you halt the result for another 2 weeks? For what reason?
1 or 3 weeks.
I mean, within these 3 weeks, this is Nigeria, anything can go on. Results can be fictitious. And again, to deepen our democracy, the INEC as a body, I'm sorry to say, most of them, they don't have integrity to man that position as electoral officers. They are corrupt. Because that...
No, you cannot substantiate these allegations.
No, most of them are corrupt. Because if you watch this last election, most INEC officers were killed, some were maimed, and in fact, some were kidnapped and released the following day. Because let me tell you, election politics is a big game in Nigeria. It warrants a lot. Many people invest money in it and all that. Then at the end, one person will just sit with microphones in front of you to say Jumbo won instead of Kingsley, just like that. And you think Nigerians will take it like that when they know who they actually voted for. So I'm using this opportunity to talk to INEC. They should reform their processes. And again, I've observed that these so-called international observers that normally comes in, we house them, we pay them, we put them in hotels and all that to come and help observe. Their views are never accepted. They will tell you their observations, they will condemn certain things. Nigeria they always undermine their comments and observations. So I will suggest to INEC in this election was an abysmal election. My own advice to INEC and to Nigeria as a whole is that those sensitive positions of the resident electoral officers should be given to men of integrity. Let them try bodies like CAN, the Muslim bodies too. When it's time for that election, let CAN give them names of spirited people with good hearts to speak the truth. Give them the normal training so that on that day they will be manning sensitive positions to relay the results as it is. And again, I would still recommend age for such positions, 60 years and above. Let them go to religious leaders, the imams. Please, this is an election, we want the truth. Because these INEC officials and all that, they are professors from the universities. They scat for them, and I know they pay them heavily. And once, but politicians, they can induce, they can penetrate anywhere. Once they know that, oh, this is professor, this that is going to be in charge of this thing, they can induce them, force them, do what they want to do, especially the party in power. The party in power. They will tell them, go ahead, whatever, you relay the result, leave that for us, we are in power. So please, advocate. Otherwise, time will come, nobody will come out in Nigeria again to vote. They will tell you, sorry, our vote does not count. They've already decided who they want to give it to.
Thank you, Andrew Eyaloa. Let's get the thoughts of Evangelist Emeka. Yes.
Thank you. It's quite unfortunate. My take.
Okay.
First and foremost, let me congratulate the Rivers State government, the incumbent governor.
Okay.
And all the people of Rivers.
Yes.
Let me congratulate them for finally getting back the mandate as it ought to be. But it's quite unfortunate. I wish Nigerians, we will learn with the outcomes of Rivers State election.
Yeah.
You heard what my colleagues have said. It has been a war. It's not only Rivers. What about the Kano? What about Kaduna? Mention them as many. Akwa Ibom. The election 2019 should be a very big lesson to Nigerians and to the federal government of Nigeria. The truth remains that we can't get it right now until we do the right thing. I heard when my brother was talking about going into the search through religious leaders. They can as well be corrupt. They are human beings living with flesh and blood. There are other things we can do. Even when you involve them, you mess up the whole thing. You mess it up. They're in Nigeria. I was almost asking what are the criteria of making somebody an INEC resident electoral commission. What is the criteria of choosing somebody as INEC chairman? Is it because he's a professor? This is where corruption starts from. Is it because he's a lecturer? I don't know the criteria, but I tell you, if I appoint you, I am your principal, you are working under me, I will give you instruction. And I pay you heavily. I say to you, I gave you all you want. And if at the end you don't give me what I want, you can't find it easy. If you also appoint the religious leaders, the Muslim sects or the Christian sects or other religious leaders, the Shintos or the Hare Krishnas, anyone you like, you appoint. Yes. It will still boil down on being loyal to your master.
But don't you think the fear of God might deter them?
Of course, it won't be all of that, but I tell you, sir,
yes,
believe it or take it.
Okay.
Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
We talk about the fear of God. It takes a man with deeply, discipline,
yeah,
to a kind of give away from
financial inducement.
Okay. Everybody has a need. Money is the devil. Money. As you are here now, if they give you some billions of naira, you are ready to leave ITV. Knowing fully whether
I won't leave.
You said so. You said so.
It has been offered.
You said so. So I am of the opinion that before any of these officers have been, elected or have been appointed into this office, the government should look inward. They should look inward. I am looking forward where we can be able to come up in time to come in our elections and say, we will not even go to the field. We will sit down here. Use your phone, if possible, to vote. Link up whatever we need through our BVN. And by so doing, we will be able to say that our votes will count. Our votes will count. What do you call him? The State Electoral Commissioner may sit down waiting for the result they have collected from ward to local government to the end before he gets to his table, before he will announce. Even when it is well done in this area, and he knew he has been paid, I tell you, he can also compromise it. They can change it, and nothing will happen. The next thing they will tell you, go to court. And if you go to court, it's the same line. So Nigeria, we have to call for God's mercy. We have to call for God's mercy. I am praying God will help us.
Okay.
Give us the grace that we'll be able to get it right as we are going. We are learning.
Thank you, Dr. Emeka. Yes, Pastor Jimmy Osagede, looking at ways to deepen our democracy, how do you think we should get it right? Because some persons believe that INEC is supposed to be an independent body. Okay.
Well, I think for us to get it right, we need institutional reforms.
Okay.
Right from the top to the bottom. We need to have such a legal framework that will enable somebody, to do the right thing, no matter whose us is God.
Yeah.
And this is only possible if, I say this with due respect.
Yeah.
It's only possible if right from the president down to the councillor in the democracy in Nigeria, for example, got into their positions on merit. A president who did not get into his position on merit cannot go for merit. I'll give you an example. All these issues that we're talking about would have been foregone if the president had assented to the amendment to the Electoral Act. That, the bill that was sent to him, he refused to assent to it. That bill, sought to make, the collation of results right from the unit level electronic. That is to say that as the votes are counted at the unit, in the presence of the agent, once you get the result, you send it electronically, to the server. And that makes the result available to everybody in the world. But the president refused. And there was also an arrangement that would have altered, the pattern of voting.
The sequence,
Yeah, the sequence. He refused. You see, so all these things that we are talking about, if you like, you put somebody you think has integrity. Integrity is talking about somebody who will be able to do the right thing, without anybody pursuing him, even when he's alone. We don't have such arrangement. Now, how do you, for instance, in Nigeria, why will you bring the soldiers to be part of electionary process? Why will you bring, the naval officers to be part of electionary process? You are intimidating the people. And there's something that happens which, nobody has mentioned. I'm sure you are aware of it anyway. There is a very sour part of election that we are not looking at. A lot of things happen before the voter comes to put his fingerprint, his or her fingerprint on the ballot paper.
To thumbprint.
Yes, there is a lot of commercialization in the electoral process. People who are giving money to people to vote openly, and then you have the law enforcement officer, the policemen, they are there. That is why many people they are of the opinion up to this very moment that even the security officers were compromised. Why do I say so? Now, in a local setting in the unit, where you have issues, somebody is buying vote and you want to complain, the first person you complain to is the police officer, who is the primary, security officer in charge of election. And the man tells you, well, they'll just go and do less, leave you and the rest of them. All these things that we are talking about, it has to be reformed right from the top to the bottom. That means the president will get to his office on merit. Even the chief of army staff will be there on merit. When your time is over, you go, overstay, and then when any of the officers, commit an infraction, you report. His discipline. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not a question of, going to shop in the church or in the mosque to get people who are going to do these things. They are still human beings. So all we need to do is to ensure that the innovations that are tenable and usable in other parts of the world, where we borrow this democracy from, we also plant it here. In America, for instance, America, in Japan, I live in Japan 12 years. In Japan, when the election is going on, you don't even know. The people will give you not all these mighty, big balls that you have. The people, they will give you a space. Maybe on Wasuta or New Lagos, so there will be a space. They'll give their 5 political parties. They'll leave 5 spaces there. You go and post your, your information there, and then you canvass. On the day of election, if it's possible, you vote from your telephone, or you go to designated areas. It will not be more than 2 or 3 people there. It's just like going to use the ATM, and nobody can fault that. So those are the kind of initiatives that we need in Nigeria. I just hope that someday we'll get it right.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That was very informative. Barrister Patrick, now ways to improve the kind of democratic processes, democratic practice in this country.
Yes, I think I've listened to my colleagues, both of them. I think their position are okay. Very straightforward. We need to go pari passu, because you know with credibility to follow your first of election. You see, in the main head of the president must get the service of merit. So they must not get there. They are very, very vital. For we to get it there, there's nothing to be done. outside the issue of the constitutional reform, that issue of electoral act. It will be by all. Those things that are not workable, we can correct it now.
Okay.
For example, the power given to the president to appoint INEC chairman, single-handedly, should be cancelled.
Okay.
We should have a body like the NJC, that you have in the judicial,
Okay.
that recommend. They recommend to the president, but have no choice. You don't know them. So this body, like you can have an election, whatever commission, that look into those they nominate. This one will go to the church. I will say, please, they can't know men of integrity. If they nominate people like a Koje, Bishop Koje, I know too well. He said because you can't compromise. We know antecedents. You know what I'm going to say?
Yeah.
Can't know those men of integrity.
Like, can?
You understand me? You also go to the academy, those in the university that know those men of integrity.
Yeah.
They're not there. You also go to NGOs, they know those persons. If you make someone who are part of them, as a story to the return of that, everyone cannot compromise. We know them. You know, they're everywhere. Even within the police force. For example, IG, it's my very good, I know him too well. He has zero tolerance for corruption. I know him. For example, you are aware in this election issue, a Kano State Commissioner of Police arrested a deputy governor. A Kano State Commissioner of Police arrested him to show that you still have men of integrity. You are telling what happened with that there. So let this body comment to the president. You should choose.
Okay.
Not to get a president for something from nowhere. I mean, what you're expecting to do, you will compromise. It's very easy. Even if the good ones, like what you said there, they will just mess up their job. They are good they have done. So handedly, I just the matter. Yeah. We should look at them. Then we should look at the issue of the judicial system. You usually should look at the when election issue, like pre-election matters, which normally the tribunal has no power to entertain it. It's only normal court.
Okay.
We should look at those issues with meticulousness, with a passion, because some of them are just raised to cause a problem. No merit. For instance, now, if the court will have to listen to what happened in River State, not to stop coalition further, the court dismiss it. We are still waiting for the election result. That's cut off the dismiss it. Because of them are frivolous. There's no point. Somebody will stop to what other vote. We'll be telling them, we'll go action, say, come my name will not place in those are just you know. So usually I need to look into. You need to look into it. Then there are some people commit crime with impunity because nothing happens. A lot of people commit electoral fraud. Bang, nothing happens. Issue of vote buying, all sorts of things. No, they must be brought to book. You understand me? The social 50s of the electoral has given the power to only the INEC to prosecute. No, it should be make it to both the police and the INEC. They can prosecute you, even magistrate court or the high court. So because the people involved, there's so many. Cannot be let them put it to court. Yeah. Then you should have a tribunal, a kind of commission of offenders to try this within 3 months after election. So 3 months they are done, they'll be convicted. So people now watch say things are going, they'll be scared. By the end of the day, they do the polity to go with nothing happens. What they expect them to do. So there should be special courts to try this election offenders in all after the election, and make sure they are prosecuted. No one will be left.
Thank you very much.
Well, okay. Yeah, no one will be left.
Okay.
So the security is an aberration for you to military in election duties. It is a lot of it causes problem because it's like a contract under duress. Okay. When you see how many someone scared cannot come to me. You saw me, and some party will now say, "Oh, we are needed for us."
But if the police is overwhelmed, don't you?
No, sir. No. I said the security issue you should be looking to. Okay. That's what you should be looking to. But it's the duty of the police to man election as well, and the rest of them to be harmed. They should. You have the mopo. They should stay in a particular point where harm. When there's a call for, they can go into action. They're not in the where they go.
Barrister Patrick. Now, from what we hear,
yes,
Nigeria as a country, we're looking at about 250 million Nigerians.
Yes.
Now, what's the strength of the Nigerian police force? Do you think they can match?
No. As you know too well, election, how many of them have been voting? Those that are created to, I don't need to vote about 80 million. We are not in 250 million Nigerians. Not everyone registered, not everyone are voting. For the few ones who register want to vote, and from the 80 million, those who won't come up will not up to 60 million. That's the issue of the matter. So not going to say that the problem is that it's a security. They should look into the issue of the security, because the more situation is that you're just like a legal observer. Don't talk. Observe. He said, "Don't talk." No, they should be involved. Tell them this. That's why if you complain about the police, say, I was asked not to do anything. More is concerned.
No, if I'm
yes, I'm not armed. Yes. I'm not armed. But what I'm trying to say is that we should look at these issues. But also, let the masses also involve. Is anybody trying to cause any wahala there? Let the masses also involve to attack that person.
Thank you, Barrister.
Issue of security is everybody's.
Thank you. Jimmy, you are trying to...
Yeah, I wanted to just chip in something there.
Okay.
You know, I think, you know, it's not really because, you know, like many people think that the police is overwhelmed.
Okay.
You know, the problem is that too many people are doing the wrong thing.
Fine.
So when the process is refined, you are going to have skirmishes just in one or two places. That is why, you know, it will be possible for police to handle the matter. They should be trained. Yes. You know, and the police, the system should be insulated from the politicians so that they will not be compromised. Okay. We also, what happened in the last election, like I said earlier on, you report to police and the man is not interested. To start with, he doesn't even have a gun, you know, and the thugs, they have their own courtesy. So all these issues, let's make it possible for the police to be the primary election observer and enforce it.
Okay. Let me say something there. Take a proper look of what we are just saying. The police, are they really relevant in election here? Why involvement of police, army, navy, civil defense, road safety, mention them? What are their roles? You say something, Pastor, about the Japan election in the past system. If we get it right, we spend a lot of money. Nigeria federal government spend a lot of money in elections. They waste the money. They pay the dogs. Police dogs are being paid. Too much of money is being voted to feed police dog. What are the police dog doing? The policeman that sits at the election field without gun, if you report this person is doing this, they will tell you, let's come. Even when they hear, but
the presence of policemen also ensure that there is peace in election centers, in polling units.
Instead of peace, it creates, you know, more tension. The reason is because if this young man with me here knew that policeman here is without gun, they even took a hand in their eyes.
Yeah, of course, we saw it.
Are you getting me? So they are helpless. They are not relevant. The only thing we should be looking at, let's get Dixon right, spend less and get it right. We waste a lot of money in election. You can imagine how much the soldiers are paid. Before election, the president came up on air and said if any ballot box snatcher, you know, shot aside. And the opposition
will be dealt with.
Well, whether you use the word dealt with,
his life.
Dealt with. Then you see the opposition parties turn it the other way around.
Yes.
And they will begin to make some issues out of it. Why must a young man sit that is, you know, supposed to vote, come to snatch ballot paper? Who sent you? Why must you? The reason is because we've not gotten it right. If Nigeria get it right, you will vote, I will vote. Even as the president vote, the Inspector General of Police will vote. The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces will vote. The thug will vote. Everybody that is there will vote. And our vote will count. We've not gotten it right.
Okay, we'll get it right. But let's get the thought of... we'll come back to Let's get the thought of Andrew Igalua. Yes.
Well, one of the ways I think we can deepen our democracy is the media.
Yes. Okay, the role of the media.
The media.
Okay.
Our lawyers. If you just watch what happened in this last election, if you compare this last election and that of 2015, 2015 was done as if Nigeria, we've advanced.
Yeah.
Clean, no life lost, everything was peaceful. And President Jonathan, being a magnanimous person, even before the election was released, he thanked the opponent. Oh, Nigeria, we've moved a step ahead. But with what we saw in this election, oh my God, is 2 steps forward, 10 steps backward when it comes to our election. Now, before the election, the President Muhammadu Buhari came out to say, oh, anybody that is involved in ballot snatching would be dealt with, kind of. Like he said, the opposition took advantage of it, deduced it, filtered it, and misinterpreted the whole thing. Even the lawyers came in. No, how can you shoot aside? This, that. The talks they were watching. The army does not have right to shoot aside, blah, blah, blah. And what did you see? Terror, ballot snatches, killings and all that, because they knew the lawyers and the media did not support it. And I want to give kudos to the police, the security agency.
Yeah.
You see what they did? They stood afar. They were watching. If there's any ballot snatching, they will tell the opponent, go after the person. Because they don't want anybody to say, the police shot at this, did this, they don't have the right, we must disarm the police, we must take the police to court. IG has been sued for one thing. They stood away.
But we had reports of shooting at
that was in
those ballot boxes.
Like in Lagos, were there any gunshots? Free ballot smashing, they were all misbehaving, knowing that yes, the law says no police should shoot.
No, but once the police get such reports, they quickly sweep into
how many have they?
With what I saw on TV, they stayed away because their jobs were at stake. Because the lawyers and the media, they did not support the act, the speech made by the president that whoever snatches any ballot box will be dealt with. So they had a free day. Let me tell you, policemen, they are all human beings, they have families. By the time you want to do the contrary and you want to tell people that you are the most disciplined police officer to start shooting aside and doing what you want to do, you will lose your job. A lawyer will come to the court, will take you to court and interpret the law for you. Why did you shoot? So the media and the lawyers, at times, there are speeches made by governors or president. It's for the betterment of everybody. It's not sentimental. Okay. We should embrace it and let peace reign so that Nigeria can move forward.
Okay. Thank you. Now, still looking at how democracy can be improved in this country. We've seen some opinions profiled by my guests, but I think there are other issues that can actually be dissected as a way of taking the country forward. Let's get the thought of Barrister Patrick Isekwene. You talked on a lot of issues. You talked about the need for INEC to really be independent in terms of appointment of the INEC chairman. Does the Constitution support that?
No, I said we need to electoral reform.
Okay.
We need to amend, we need to think that we promote, bring a good election. That's what I'm saying, that we need to remove that power for the president.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
It's already there.
It is already there. So we need to overhaul that, if we need to remove it. So we can progress.
The National Assembly has a role to play.
Yeah, it has a role to play. Okay. We need to overhaul it. So there are other issues, like the issue of where the voters' education.
Okay.
We need to enlighten them.
Yes. So
that they just involve themselves in vote buying. Also our party. Because once you vote and a certain time your vote did not count, they're discouraged. So we need the voters' education to bring them up. Then our politicians, we also need the kind of accountability.
Okay.
Yes, if you are in office, you be accountable to your people. You're accountable to your people. You are there, you don't take by your people, you're accountable to your people. It's also a problem. Then the issue of a leader that is they don't understand. You see, you must be easily access to your people. You must give them the fundamental needs that's required by democracy, like good governance, good road, good water, good food. You can't depend on all these things and you still want to get to a fair election. There will be a stakeholder. You see, American today, they say that think of what you can do for America, not what America can do for you, because they cater for them. So if you give them their education, good food, good road, they'll be willing to do the best. So if you're in office, give them good things. They're willing to defend the vote. They're willing to do the needful. Then I will look at the issue of our look at the issue. I talk about security.
Yeah, you've done that.
Overhauling that.
Yes.
That, you see, what I'm trying to say is that the military are now never recognized issue of election, the democracy. They should be kept away. For instance, and I see within the police, you have different like Mopo. They are like the military. We are used to police, we are used to military.
That's the special.
Yes, like the military. Yes. It can be in all jobs. They're not supposed to be where the election when he far off, some distance away.
Okay.
If the members are there with all armed, be armed, because in election duty, a police officer is expected them to be armed. They're just like observers. Okay. That's why if you report to, they can't do anything. And they've been sorted. Just observe. Okay. Don't do anything.
Yeah.
Yes, so but they can make a phone, they can ring their people who are in the position to do this thing in a particular junction. They will wait for the people to come out, they will fight with them. Okay. Yes, so you need to be looking to. So if we go, I mean, for look at this issue holistically, I believe we can do better than what we had.
Let me take a bit from there.
Whatever we for electronic voting,
yes,
please, we should start it now. Parties make perfect. We should start it now.
Okay.
So that you reduce the.
Let me come in the area of electoral education.
Yeah, the voter education.
Voters education.
Okay.
Now, before you close your eyes and open, we're in the next 4 years. If INEC, who believe they are independent, they are always independent after election. But during election,
they are still independent.
They are no more.
No, INEC is independent during election too.
During election, they are not independent.
Because your accusation could be very relative.
But that was 58.
Your allegations could be relative.
Well, let me make my point.
Okay.
Now election has come and go.
Yeah.
Let's INEC, with all the money, you know, pushed into their office during election and after election. Let them make use of it. Start educating the electorates.
Okay.
How will they do this? And what kind of education are they supposed to, you know, give to?
Yeah, I was just coming to that. So what type of education are you looking for?
Fine.
What is education?
Let the people know. This man is coming for first time.
Okay.
Those who are going to vote him in, we know him. Is he qualified? If he's qualified, give him your vote. He's not the only one contesting.
Okay.
There are many of them that are contesting. Give him or her your vote.
Okay.
Whereby he is not qualified, give who you know is qualified your vote.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
When this thing go down well, you can't give me money to buy my conscience. Why must you pay tax? Because you have nothing to offer.
Okay.
You are only hungry for power. You are only there to loot the money of the people, the tax
payers' money.
Payers' money. You are not there to do anything good for the betterment of the life of your people.
Okay.
Because whomever is in any office, in elected office, is from the grassroots. Are you following me?
Yes.
Somebody just jump out from nowhere, whether you were an armed robber before, whether you were 419, you just jump out, you buy a form of millions. And in electoral reform, this idea of selling a form
at exorbitant rates,
my dear, it should be stopped.
Okay.
It should be stopped because when you get such money and you buy, you get extra money to make sure you pursue your form. You wouldn't want that money to lost. Nobody will return it to you. So you would want to get it back. And you will want to do everything it will take you to get it back.
So political parties now must reduce the form.
The form.
Okay, but what if they reduce the form and almost everybody wants to contest? So what happens?
Fine. It's not possible for everybody.
Yes.
If everybody comes to take, the highest person that receives the highest vote wins. Is it not correct?
So primaries.
If it is everybody here and we all able to buy the form, vote for yourself, I vote for myself. Vote for yourself, I vote for myself.
Yeah.
There's only 1 or 2 persons here that will vote for another person that your vote is bigger than my own or higher than my own, sorry, that will enable me to win you.
Okay.
In primary, then to the general election. Same thing. We need voters' education.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think all these issues that we are talking about, they are standing on a foundation that is non-existent in Nigeria.
Okay.
And that foundation is patriotism.
Okay.
unfortunately, it's very difficult to find, you know, a Nigerian today that is patriotic. You know, what is patriotism? Patriotism is when you can almost give up your life for the sake of your country.
Yes.
But you find that the country has been unfair to almost every Nigerian.
How do you mean?
Yeah, I will explain that.
Okay.
Now, as a Nigerian, I'm sure you are, as you are here in the studio, if you are not careful, you are thinking about whether there will be light in your house when you get home. Your cars, you go to mechanic every day, the roads are terrible. You have to provide water for yourself. You know, those days you are brilliant, you get scholarship. Now, you know, the country has not treated the people well. So everybody, almost everybody, sees election as an opportunity to get a piece of the cake. If, you know, all this bribery and corruption we are talking about, if, you know, as you left school, you are a graduate, those days when we left school, you have options 2, 3, you have to choose, and you are gainfully employed, it's going to give you peanuts and you accept. You know, all these things, they have to be existent in Nigeria before you can think of. Now, if, you know, for instance, we as parents, we have children, they have left universities there, some of them 6, 7 years, they don't have job. Now, if your child leaves school and he or she gets a job, that child is not going to be thinking about, he's going to be thinking about how to help this country. You know, let me give you one instance. You know, I'm not trying to be egocentric. When I was in law school, I had a friend, my roommate. He was living in America. He was practicing in America, but he came to Rivers State so that he can, you know, so that he can also practice here. He came to Nigeria Law School. That guy had 3 children. The first son, very intelligent, he studied nuclear physics and he made distinctions. The father tried to persuade him many times to come to Nigeria. He said, "No, I'm not coming." What do you want to do? He said he wants to join the army, PhD in nuclear physics. He said, "Why?" He said, "Because I want to give to my country what the country has given to me." That guy had a scholarship from middle school up to university. That is how you do. You don't preach patriotism. You grow up to be patriotic. So if you are an electoral officer, your children are not in Nigeria, they are schooling abroad. Who cares whether people are snatching ballot paper and killing themselves? You know. So those are the kind of things that we are talking about. Like you know, the man of God said just now. Let everybody from primary school, you know, civic education as we used to have in those days, let us ingrain these ideas into our, you know, our brains. Let it be possible that as you are growing up, you pay your tax, you get what tax is supposed to provide for you. And then when it's time for you to be in the position of authority, you'll be thinking about how to prepare the country.
That's a very good one. Thank you very much. Let's get the thoughts of Andrew Eigalua. Now, which other areas do you think maybe is not being done now that should be done so that Nigeria's democracy can be enhanced?
Well, the principal areas that has not been touched and we are trying to overlook is the internal democracy of political parties.
Okay.
That is where the nuisance starts from. Sorry for using that word.
Yes.
Because, like in Rivers, Amici, the leader of APC, couldn't produce candidates for various positions. Why? When the rules are spelled out in the party handbook for you to go through, how to get to primaries, who will merge and all that. But with that impunity, with or without primaries, we will get candidates. We must conduct this election. So it's also display. APC, they were not on the ballot. You can't tell me that he didn't know that what he was doing was wrong. And the party leaders, they were watching him, looking at the whole scenario, and it happened that way. So the internal democracy, or if you want Nigeria to move forward, internal democracies must be upheld, must be looked into by political parties. If you are vying for any positions, there are criteria. You cannot just come from one place, America, Japan, because you have money, you go and meet one leader at home. I want to go for this position. Okay, okay, take this.
Sorry to caution. The law has taken care of that. That is why in Rivers State we were punished for it.
No,
the law punished them for it.
Internal democracy.
Yes.
Has some people and causes problem in the party.
Yeah. The law has taken care of that.
So somebody will just come from nowhere, you go and meet your political leaders, give them Ghana must go and all that. Before you know it, come to the meeting, they want to impose you on the people. Whereas they have party lawyers that have been working for the party, that have been in the party ever since, they will twist them to bring out a candidate that was not supposed to be. What are you expecting in the main election? Sincerity, Honestly, no. Because the internal democracy that was supposed to be played at didn't play to bring that particular candidate out from a particular party. And this is what we are undermining. So if you must do all this, internal democracy must be structured, must be followed. That is what will propel candidates, even the electorate, because the voters, they are watching. They are not politicians, but they know how each party brings out their candidates, how they emerges, and what is happening there. That is all through corruption. So who are they to say, oh, you want to educate me not to take money to buy votes?
Now, Andre Igaloa, you just brought up an issue now that I think we should quickly look at for time. Now, once INEC gets court injunction, INEC is aware of a court ruling rather on maybe a political party not conducting primaries, INEC obeys. Now, we've seen a situation where in Rivers, APC, the ruling party at the national, couldn't even field a candidate. Now, Jimmy, don't you think it's a sign that this INEC has really proven to Nigerians that INEC is credible?
Well, as much as we criticize INEC, I think they have done one or two good things also.
Okay.
Even though the principal, so to say, the employer, does not obey court orders, and they have done a lot to obey court orders. But that also happened, first and foremost, he was talking about eternal democracy. The rules are there. Any party that does not follow, the laid down principles will wait to suffer from the courts.
Okay. That's
what happened in the River State. And when you are aggrieved, you go to court. The INEC, so far so good, they have been obeying court orders.
Yes.
So I think, to that extent, the INEC has been doing very well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Party words, Barrister Patrick Isekwena.
Well, I believe INEC must have listened to us.
Yes.
They should work with the rules. They would work with the rules. Yes, they should not only obey court order, they should obey it, because whatever action they take without obeying court order is a sign of futility. Court would throw it away.
Okay.
So INEC should do the needful by overhauling himself.
Okay. Thank you.
And give us a good job.
Dr. Meka?
Thank you. I want to, one more time, ask the INEC to stand up to their responsibilities. And Nigeria should wake up by doing also what is right.
Okay.
The politicians should stop playing politics of bitterness.
Okay.
I am your brother, we contested from the same place. If your interest is for the masses, another person's interest is for the masses, whomever the people from your region wants, let the person be there, and things will work out well.
Thank you very much. Andre Igaloa?
Well, I have to speak to INEC.
Okay.
INEC, they have a significant role to play in the deepening of our democracy.
Okay.
Please, INEC, do the right thing so that Nigeria as a country can move forward.
The right thing should be done, and it is believed that once the right thing is done, then Nigeria's democracy will be enhanced, will be developed. And I believe that the relevant authorities who have watched this program would have gotten some very, very wonderful opinions from my guest. So, if you enjoyed today's program, keep a date with me. Next week, Thursday, 1:30 p.m., we will come here again with different sets of guests to look at some other national issues. My name is Ego Sagmalao, signing off. Bye-bye.